Electrocast. Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Welcome into Missing the Point. I am, as always, your host for this week's Power Ranking Show, BK Sizzle. The Power Ranking Show brought to you by Missing the Point. And Missing the Point brought to you by the Winner's Edge Podcast Network. We're proud to be a part of them, proud to be teamed up with those guys. So look out for fun, new, exciting things to come in the coming weeks, months, years, decades, centuries, if eventually we get so big that they can't let us die. We got a full cast of characters tonight. When me and Bobby first started doing the Power Ranking Show week in, week out, everybody was too busy for us. But then as it turns out, when it gets a little difficult to do weekly Patriot shows because they're so hard to watch, everybody wants to be on the fucking Power Ranking Show. So we got a big cast today, and I'm really excited about it. We got almost everybody from the whole podcast here on the Power Ranking Show. All of a sudden, we're the prettiest girl at the prom, Bobby. It's amazing. But I'm really excited to be here with, as always, the real BK Bob Kelly. I've got Broadway Joe Malkin. I've got Hollywood Ray Buchanan. We are going to talk about the Power Rankings. Last week, we had a great conversation about how this coming week, we were going to know so much more about who was really a contender and who was really a pretender in the NFL. And I really do feel like finally, after weeks and weeks of waiting for this, we've come to a point where we know a lot more about each team and like finally we know who's the real deal and who isn't. Now, thankfully, in response to that, Bobby has created an insane power rankings that make absolutely no sense just because I think we really like to have that feeling of uncertainty and fear on this show. So I'm just going to get right into it. Do stay tuned for the end where we're going to talk about a couple of little parlays that we have. Obviously, we're not responsible if you lose your money, but we tend to do okay because we talk about sports all the time. So maybe we know something. I don't know. Tail us at your own risk. But yeah, we're definitely going to get back to the parlays a little bit later. But first, we have to start off with number 10 on the power rankings. It's the New York Jets. Still surprised that they're in the top 10, to be honest with you. Bobby, I just need you to just explain yourself.
So the biggest thing here is, listen, this defense is legit. Mike White, to me, I know he has his times where he doesn't look.
Are we doing this?
He's not a top 15, top 10 quarterback. Definitely not. Not at this point. But at the same time, man, he doesn't need to be. You look at this Jets defense, man, and the battle they just put up against the Vikings. Listen, I know, we've hit the Vikings as the most overrated team in the NFL over the top of the head all season long. But at the same time, they are 10. What are they, 10-2 now? Or 11-2 even. And the Jets gave them a great game. All right. That defense is legit. And if they have, I think it's Zonovan Wilson is the new running back they just found. If that dude actually is something, this team, I'm pretty sure they're going to the playoffs. And honestly,
well, they're obviously going to the playoffs.
Well, the biggest reason
when you say, does he need to be a good quarterback or not? To be a good quarterback for what? Like, are they going to win a playoff game? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let me just put it this way. All right. The reason the Jets are number 10 on this is because of who I had to pick between. The three selections, right? Were the Jets, the Titans, and the absolutely putrid, pukey, poopy Baltimore Ravens. We already talked about this last week. I swore them off this power ranking show.
Yeah.
Maybe for the rest of the season because of that Denver game. That was so pitiful and putrid. So the Jets really just were like the biggest loser, the biggest winner of the three losers who were on that fringe.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I do see that being fair from my perspective. Let me throw it to the special guests we have on the show today. Ray, do you think that's fair? Of the four teams that Bobby says he had a choice to put at number 10, it was the Titans, the Jets, the Ravens, or who else was it, Bobby? Who did I forget?
No,
I think that's always it. But actually, you can toss the Giants in there too. Put the Giants.
Okay, or the Giants. So Ray, number 10 with a bullet, the New York Jets. Do you feel like it's fair, or do you think maybe the Titans? Are you still high on them?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee could have been an option at 10, or like if they put him at 10, I don't think I would have had an issue. And those that listen to this when it comes out, I don't think they would have had an issue either. I could see why you did put the Giants there, not because of their rivalry, but when you tie with Washington, like that just kind of puts you on the back burner for the moment. Had they overachieved this season? Absolutely. Is Brian Dable in the running for Coach of the Year, or Saquon Barkley, has had a bounce back season? Absolutely. But like you guys alluded to already, the Jets have done some awesome things this year. Robert Saleh has been great. Yeah, I definitely wanted to use like a New Kids on the Block reference with Mike White. But I couldn't think of the song at the moment, so it'll come back to me another time. But once again, he's been great in his time taking over for Zach Wilson, and between Garrett Wilson and some other weapons they have there, they have done really well. And I said, yeah, they seem like they're primed for at least a wild card appearance.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what it kind of illuminates to me though, Bob, is like when you are choosing between these 10 teams, I'm sort of glad you didn't pick the fucking Titans, because like I'm fucking sick of talking about them. And I think like, should we do some cross-offs? Real quick? Just like because we did a few last time we had this 4-man team together, so I feel like we can at least keep it consistent before we continue. We already crossed off the Rams, right?
Rams are they're done. Rams are done.
Cardinals. Gone.
Cardinals are toast.
Nope.
Yeah, they're done.
Seahawks,
the coach might be toast too.
Yeah. No, definitely, for sure. Thank God, because he sucks, and there is some talent to work with down there. Saints are gone. Panthers are gone. Falcons?
We can cross off the Saints. I don't think we can cross off the Panthers yet.
You're not cross. They're 4-8.
I know, but the Bucs are 6-6.
They're still only 2 games.
Yeah, they're only 2 games out, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and
you're right.
They play both
terrible division.
And they play both Atlanta and Tampa Bay in the next coming weeks.
Fucking Joe is like 100% just rooting against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. Like he's finally gotten to the point, because he made the Tom Brady's a shell of himself take, which is it's a brave one. It's a brave one to fucking doubt.
It's also true,
but it could be true. I mean, is it his fault? I mean, there was a big comeback game that looked vintage Tom Brady. We're coming up, right? I mean, is that talk to me about him, Joe? I mean, we should talk about him if we're doing cross-offs here, because in 2 weeks, the Panthers and the Falcons could be ahead of the Bucs. We're crossing them off. So now's your moment.
If you believe what's been said in the media, Tom Brady ran Bruce Arians out of town, which I think was a terrible decision. I like Todd Bowles. I like Todd Bowles as a coordinator. I don't like him as a head coach. And I think that was a mistake. And I think he's a big reason why they're 6-6. I think the quarterback going through what he was going through during the beginning of the season, taking 11 days off during camp, I think that affected his relationship with the team. And I think that matters even when you're that guy. No, you can't cross off the Falcons, and you certainly can't cross off the Buccaneers. I think the Panthers are a maybe. The Saints are done. I mean, Dennis Allen is...
They're definitely done. I think
Dennis Allen is a good NFL head coach.
All right, well, since we're on the NFC South, I don't want to stay here for too long because nobody's very good. But Ray, who's winning this division?
Yeah. Oh, the NFC South. Oh, Tampa. Like the run is coming. The run is coming.
That's what I think. The
run is coming.
I have to be. Sure. I have to be on that train, because it's like every time you bet against Brady, you get fucking burned.
Oh, I mean, I never left though. Like has he taken a step back? Like Joe's not wrong in that. Like we have seen.
Sure, but a step back.
I don't even. But the thing, I don't even know if it's necessarily a step back, because when you see him have time and gets a pocket around him, the passes he delivers are still Tom Brady-esque passes.
But he's still top 5.
The thing is,
top 5 quarterback.
The thing, if he has protection, yes, but he has none this year. You can see it in his play where, how many years in the past, right, where Brady's under a little bit of pressure on a running back screen or something. And he just has more faith where he takes those 2 extra steps, lets the play develop, and it's a big play to Fournette or whoever. This year, man, he's throwing that ball at those running backs and wide receivers' feet 50% of the time on those screens and those type of plays. So
but I don't know. I don't know if you can directly draw a line to like he's old, his body's failed him. Like I don't know if it's that. I just think maybe the offense isn't really working, and it's just like if he's not seeing stuff on time, then he's not able to like make the read quick enough to make the play. Now, that's on him. I'm not going to sit here and defend this fucking dude. Like he's got plenty of defenders. He's got plenty of money. He's got plenty of rings. But
an O-line has been the most important thing to Tom Brady his entire career.
His whole career. And his defense. His defense has always been like a top 10 defense every time he won. So It is weird to see. It's weird to see Tom Brady in a situation like this, but I just think we're going to end up, and Joe, I think even you'll feel this way, because I think it might be a little bit of wishful thinking on your part. And trust me, I've done this to Tom Brady since I was like 12 years old. I've been wishing he was going to be terrible. But by the time we're in week 1 of the playoffs and they're in the playoffs because they won their division, if that does happen, nobody's going to doubt you if you say, like, I mean, maybe he makes some run in the playoffs because it's fucking Tom Brady. You know,
Yeah,
They won't make a run this
especially
year.
because
It's a team thing.
they'll have the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
I mean, they don't look
Isn't
great.
winning the Super Bowl.
They may win a playoff game. Like they may get one at home, maybe.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I think if they'll maybe lose it as a divisional round.
Yeah, they're
Depending.
going to
on,
have to play somebody really good. Too.
They're gonna-
I-
I know, but if they win the NFC South, they'll be the 4th seed, right? So
You know,
that's
you know who they're
March-
playing,
so they
guys.
play the
If they win the NFC South,
the
have the worst
Vikings?
record, worst record among divisional winners against the best
Cowboys.
wild card team. You know who that'll be? The Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting.
What,
'Cause-
y'all at 9-3 right now, aren't y'all?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, but the Eagles are 11-1.
Eagles are 11-1. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Got you. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. Okay, that's
so,
why I
wow.
thought it was Minnesota because that was the case. I'm like, he's definitely beating
Yeah,
Minnesota.
because you know what?
and
The,
he's
the
gonna
fucking,
face whoever it is in the.
I thought it was Minnesota too, and I was like, he
so-
could be Minnesota, but also, I mean, the Cowboys have a we like to lose in the fucking first round of the playoffs, ricking them too. So interesting to watch.
Do
I
they?
actually kind of hope I watch this space.
No.
I hope it stays like this. All right, so we haven't actually, even though it's a fucking terrible division, or maybe because it's a terrible division, we've only crossed off the Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Bucks, all still alive. NFC North, I'm prepared to cross off the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions here, unless anybody has any sort of argument.
Let's see what the Lions do this.
Yeah,
week
I think
before we cross them off.
Detroit. I think got a
Yeah.
shot. They got
Yeah.
a shot.
Think?
They've won 3 in a row, and
They have the same amount of wins as the Packers. What's the difference?
they've won
They're
3 in a
better
row.
team.
They're trending in the right direction.
They're
The Packers,
a
you can
better
say,
team right
you
now.
can say the same thing about the Packers. It's like, oh, they have Aaron Rodgers. Oh, it's like it's the same exact logic. You're still way behind the number 1 team in that division, and the Seahawks have 7 wins, and they're going to be in that thereabouts in that sort of second tier. The Cowboys have to deal, like we just talked about, with the Eagles. I don't know, man. I just feel the Lions really. Are we sure? All right, fine. We won't cross off the line.
No, you got to get in a
Packers there.
vacuum. In a vacuum, you don't cross them off. When you look at the big picture, you got to cross them off. We're talking about 7 teams. Excuse me, and right now there's 4 teams that are not
That's what I
division
mean.
leaders.
Yeah,
3
that's
of
what-
which
this-
are in the NFC East that are better than them.
But
The Cowboys, the Giants, the Commanders, and the Seahawks are all better than them right now. And the
Well,
Lions
we don't have to.
Lions
'Cause it's
are
better. It's better to not. It's better to. We can't be uncrossing teams. So it really look fucking ridiculous if we cross them off and they do make a run. You're right. It's still mathematically possible. So let's just leave them there. And they do. You're right. They've won 3 in a row. Their defense looks a little less leaky. Their offense has been good all year. Oh my god! I just sounded like I was underwater there for a second. Their offense has been good all year. And yeah, all right, fine. Let's keep them. I mean, it would have been fun.
the
for
other
me
2,
to
though,
cross
the other 2, I'm okay with.
Yeah, but watch out for the fucking Bears next year. All right. And then the NFC East, I'm not crossing anybody off in the NFC East.
No,
I mean, even the Commanders are kind of good.
that's a good football team.
All right,
Besides
cool.
their stupid owner and their awful stadium, it's a great team.
Yeah, yeah.
I like them at life.
Great team to watch. Not a great team, but like I like watching them. They're exciting.
All right, Broncos are going to go.
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
We're going to keep the Raiders. We're going to keep the Chargers. We're going to keep the Chiefs, obviously. But Raiders and Chargers, any votes for having that discussion?
No.
Raiders can go.
yeah.
I think they're in the same boat as the Lions. Let's see what happens this
You
week.
only have one less win than the Chargers, but the AFC
mean-
is a little bit more stacked, so I could see it.
They've won 3 in a row, and Adams and Jacobs look like they may be the best running back wide receiver tandem in the league right now. So
Yeah,
I
they
can't.
still have Derek Carr as their quarterback, and they still have Josh McDaniels as their head coach. I'm willing to wait another week, but I really think that they should be. They're on the firing line. Let's just call it.
Derek Carr just made a heck of a throw, as you said that.
Well, it's if you think
Even a
about it,
blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Go ahead, Bobby.
it's Jets, New England, Chargers, and Vegas vying for that last playoff spot, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, they're only a game and a half behind all
You're
those
right. No,
teams.
you're right. You're right. But firing line though, for sure. Texans are gone.
They're close, yeah.
Yeah, Texans are gone. I'm gonna cross off the Jags, even though I know we kind of skirted around that because Lawrence made that really good throw to win that game. But I just don't. Maybe in a couple of years, like he might be okay. But I does anyone want me to not cross them off?
No,
They have
just
potential.
They just
They're
lost
done.
40-14 against the Lions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're
Well, I mean, the Lions do put up numbers against a lot of teams, but I don't really want to sit here and make that argument. We're crossing the Jags off. Colts.
Fuck yeah. Cross them
I'm
off.
willing to get rid of them too. Titans we're gonna keep, but I'm not really seeing them do anything. Steelers and Browns, I think, are going to go, especially after Deshaun. Deshaun looking like that in that first Browns appearance. I mean, he had a lot of time to learn that playbook, and the crowd is not good. It's not. I don't think the situation is going to work out. Does anybody want to argue with me on that, or should we cross them up?
No,
Ray did that thing. Ray took a big inhale. I want to hear it.
Well, not necessarily with him. I think maybe because it's still what they have around him. Like I think, obviously, sure. I don't know if he's going to go 14-27 for a $131 every week. Obviously, the man's been off for almost 2 years. It's like it's not.
He's probably a little extra.
No, I'm saying, but it's not
probably
like
a little extra tense. He's not getting his massages. So.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I gave you the alley oop there. Great.
I mean, that was the secret to Tiger's success. So it could be.
Amongst some other stuff. I feel you.
Yeah, but his was at Perkins, not at home. Not a sponsor.
Ooh, yeah. So I don't know. I just think that maybe after this week you say that, but I think obviously just 1 week.
Okay,
not enough. But yeah.
Any sort of dissent and cross offs, I'm always going to keep them. We'll put them on the firing line, but we're not going to shoot them yet. Steelers are gone. Bengals, I think, are going to win the North. To be honest.
Yeah, right now I think they're going to go on their run.
Look, their momentum again. It's just like last season. Like we spent the first half of the year shitting on them, and then just right around maybe a couple of weeks ago, this time last year, me and Bobby were like, "Should we bet on to win the Super Bowl?" And then we never did, which is very upsetting. Or go to the Super Bowl even.
Go to the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, it was like what?
It was like 2,100, right?
Oh my God, the odds are so good we didn't do it. Yeah. Anyway, that's a great preview for the parlays later. Definitely, follow us along. We're doing great. The Ravens, like we talked about, are turgid. Like you said, I just think like that. I brought up that Lamar stat to you guys last week. Obviously, we're not crossing him off, but I brought up that Lamar stat to you guys last week about his deep ball, and the team around him are just like not made of the right stuff. I agree with you, Bobby. I think we both like hit that same conclusion right around the same time. I'm gonna cross the Patriots off. Sorry about that.
Cross them off.
Sorry. Didn't know how that was going to be received, but just looking at the AFC East,
really the way we're sounding off in the group chat,
they suck, man. They're
you think I'm going to agree with you, Dave? Are you kidding me?
No, I didn't know. I didn't say you were going to disagree with me. I didn't want anyone to have like a full blown meltdown because
no. The meltdowns happen every Sunday. Joe sees him in person. I have
such a sad.
Yeah, it's pathetic. And once again, I mean, thankfully, I saw their last decent game of the season. Or last decent moment because Marcus Jones ran back to the touchdown. So that was fun. But other than that, yeah, this team, I just want to say thank you for letting it get this far on the show without you mentioning, the nightmare that is doing with Patriots. So me and Joe.
I mean, if it's any
on behalf
consolation,
of Joe and I, on behalf of Team Otis Anderson for the OG listeners, we say thank you.
I'll take that thank you. No takesy backsies when I tell you that I did, in fact, mention them in the opening of the show and how bad they were in an effort to make fun of them. But
I blocked it out.
Thanks for blocking out that trauma.
I quite literally don't remember. I don't know who took the edible.
I blocked it out. Yeah, facts.
All right, I love it. We're not crossing anybody else off in that division, so let's get back on track to the power rankings. Now we've talked about all the shitty teams. We have some good cross-offs, though. I mean,
pretty much a third of the league.
Right? Yeah, we got most of the gristle off this burger. So I'm ready to keep moving. Let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Bobby, put them at 9. I do think they're a little closer to 500 than a lot of these other teams on this list, but I do understand now that we're, like we said, we're sorting through the kind of obviously shitty teams. I do understand why they're here, but there's a good chance they lose in the very first round, right? To whoever they end up playing. They're going to come up against some strong opposition. Do you see them making a playoff run here, Bob? Or are we just kind of learning that the top 8 are still contenders of this power rankings, and 9 and 10 are fluid in which kind of shitty team is going to be on there?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The thing that with the Seahawks is you guys remember beginning of the season, Seahawks were one of our picks for one of the worst teams in the league. So the fact
they did better than we thought for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're even at 7-5 is such a win for them. They're not going to make any noise in the playoffs. Listen, Geno Smith's been a great story. He's been awesome. But trusting him to go on the road to San Francisco or go on the road to
not with that defense
to Philly or one of those, you know what I mean? One of those places is almost impossible. It's not happening. But again, it's a nice story. They have great weapons. The defense is weird where like 1 minute they look like the best defense in the league and the next minute they're giving up 80-yard bombs over the top. You're like, what the hell just happened?
That reads to me like a good coach with like not a ton of good players. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question I want to pose to
72% completion percentage for Geno Smith this year. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's put him in a position to win, though. I think that system is good for efficiency. And I think Russell Wilson leaving and what's kind of emerged from that, there's no bigger compliment to Pete Carroll, to be honest with you. Like, as much as a lot of people remember him for obviously bad calls and in game-winning situations, I just think he is a good coach. I think he has a good system down there. Sorry, Ray, what were you going to say?
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
So, is there a similarity to the 2010 Seahawks team this year for what we're seeing right now?
The first rush year?
No, the 2010. This is the beast mode run against
7-9 this season.
7-9.
Yeah.
If there's similarities to that team, because this is what this feels like. It looks like that. I mean, obviously they have a better record. They may end up with over 500 record, but this looks very much like how it was in 2010. And then, you're messing around with, they're not going to get a home game because they're not going to win a division, but
no, they're not.
But it's just like, does this look like 2010 where they find a way to get one win in the playoffs and then move on to?
I just think it's based on who they have to go play, like they're going to have to go play probably the 49ers, like Bobby said. And I just think, like, even with the quarterback situation, obviously we'll talk about the 49ers in a couple of rankings, but I mean, that defense to me is like, I just think they're going to, especially after what they made the Dolphins offense look like, I just think they're going to eviscerate Geno Smith. I just don't think that on the road, especially on the road, because I just think, you grab that one away, like the 7-9 team, but you need that Legion of Boom thing if you're going to really do anything special with like a team that nobody expects you to do anything with, right? Yeah. Joe, say that scenario does pan out. Seahawks go to the 49ers first round. Who do you have in that matchup? Because I feel like it's a no-brainer.
I'm going to throw a wrinkle into it because doing some quick math while you guys were talking there, they would actually go right now. They'd go to Minnesota, I think they win that game.
I think
if they go to San Francisco, they lose. If they go to Minnesota, I think Pete Carroll can.
Strangely, that might be true. Actually, strangely, that might be true. You're not wrong. Interesting.
And
we gotta get there, right?
And they've beaten Minnesota before, obviously.
Kirk Cousins can lose a playoff game. We know that.
Well, of course.
Sure can.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously Kenny Walker is the offensive rookie of the year in my opinion. So obviously
the third.
You still have Tyler Lockett. Oh yeah, third. Yeah, excuse me.
Just making sure he's the third, right?
Yeah, the third. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, besides Lockett being he's 40 years old, I mean that offense isn't bad, and Geno Smith literally having a resurgence. Like, he is Ryan Tannehilling the hell out of his career right now. And it's a flash in the pan. It's not going to last forever, but man, I'm happy for that guy because he is almost a carbon copy of Russell Wilson. He has very similar skills. He's just not as wacky. He's doing a great job.
That's very. Do you mean like now? I feel like that's very unfair to Russell Wilson in his prime.
Yeah, in his prime, Russell Wilson was like a top 5 quarterback in the league. But I mean, just
it's okay to call him Russell Wilson. It's okay to say that.
Yeah, 72%.
Yeah, but I mean, make sure you say Walmart brand though. Like the Russell Wilson.
Sure, yeah, he's a Walmart brand.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess I thought you meant like actual skill level wise, but all right.
No.
Seahawks, Vikings. No. If that happens, I could see the Vikings jumping out to like a 21-3, 24-3 lead, and the Seahawks coming storming back because that's what the Vikings do, and it's just a matter of can they hold it off? Can they hold off that?
We've seen this movie before. Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait for the playoffs. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins, who a team I honestly have been having a great time watching, a great time talking about. I like Mike McDaniel. I think he's like sort of the feel-good, not the feel-good story of the year, but the like fun character of the year. If we're making up that award, handed it out on the spot. I think
he wins that unanimously, right? That's unanimous.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we've loved him. We've loved it. Like, I watch his mic'd ups anytime they're like on my TikTok feed. But he should just be mic'd up 24 hours. Like, it'd be great.
Oh, without a doubt.
I agree.
But his relationship with Tua is great. I think that Tua sort of defied expectations. There was a lot of rhetoric coming out of the Dolphins camp before the season started of like, oh, you should see Tua. And I was on record on the show being like, okay, we'll fucking believe when I see it. totally proven wrong. His accuracy's been unbelievable. He's obviously got sick weapons. The Dolphins are a fun team to watch. Even you guys aren't really letting the fact that they're like in your division and the whole Patriots thing really cloud your judgment on that. I feel like that's to be commended. They are genuinely fun once you've accepted the death of your own team.
Well, to sound like you and Bobby.
Hold on a second. Yeah. So just before we go down this path, I just want to know from each of you, did that 49ers loss, even though the 49ers coughed up their fucking quarterback, which I did say to you, Bobby, like not a week ago, like the reason why we're worrying about the 49ers is because everybody there is a potential health risk. Did that make you doubt them, Bob? Or is that just a flash in the pan? It's a one-off. It's not a big deal. Are we worried?
Well, I literally asked when the loss happened. I think I put in the group chat, like, is this a really good win for San Francisco or a super fraudulent loss by Miami? And
Do you think the 49ers defense is good?
Yeah, I think that's what I think it is. I think it's just a really good win by San Fran, man. They have one of the best attacking defenses I've ever seen. They're unbelievable attacking the ball. Like, and that's what the Dolphins kind of were so good at in those first few weeks is like those short, quick passes, Tyreek making a dude miss, and all of a sudden he's off to the races. Waddle, same thing. So I think it was just a really bad matchup for the Niners when it came down to it, or for the Dolphins when it came down to it against the Niners. So I still kind of
makes sense why you have them at 8. It makes sense why you have them at 8 because they're right below the 49ers. They're thereabouts. It was a good game, but it was one of those games that we talked about. Like, once we see these two teams play, we're going to know a lot more about each team, right? And I think that maybe there's more questions now. You know, after that game.
What's so funny is like every year we have these defensive battles, right? Where it's like top offense against the top defense. Where it's like, oh, I wonder who's. It's always the fucking defense. And I feel like 90% of the time the defense just comes out and shuts them down. We've seen it so many times.
In the regular season. Yeah. No, that's fair. Ray, do you think that the Dolphins do you think the Dolphins are less good than you did 2 weeks ago, or did that game not really move the needle on your view of them?
No, I still think they're super talented. Like when you still have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Matt Gesicki and the running backs are escaping me.
Wilson and Mostert.
Yeah, Wilson and Mostert. Right. So when you had that core around which was done. Once again, the only thing I had the issue with was how they handled stuff with Flores. Like I didn't have any other beef with what Miami was doing, but
how to come back from a public relations standpoint so well because of how charming Mike McDaniel is, like that really.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked out. It's worked out in their favor, and I mean that part as a Patriot fan makes me sick. But then again, at the same time, it's cool to see that guy flourish there and see what's happening for Tua there. Obviously, it just goes to show what can happen when you put actual, weapons around somebody. So yeah, I mean, but I don't have any different opinion of them than what I had 2 weeks ago. I just think that obviously Mike McDaniel coming back to San Francisco, Shanahan knows he's going to run until they run the same damn offense, essentially. So I just think that, it was just okay. We know what they're going to call here. We know the tendencies, and we can shut this down and cover up as much as we need to. So that's all that was, in my opinion.
I have a question.
I do think. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you guys think? I guess this is for all of you. Do you think that the reason Flores got fired? So we've seen all the mic'd up of how Tua reacted when Flores came up and talked to him. How it was he was intimidated.
Wasn't very nice in the press conference either. Though, about it. They were like, "Oh, did you blah blah with Flores?" He was like, "Nope," and that was it. Like,
Do you think that had something to do with that? That had to have had like a big portion to do with it, right?
Because I mean, you can picture a meeting between a GM and an owner with the star quarterback of a team at that point. You can picture them being like, "So the direction we're going, blah 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 blah. How do you see it?" And he makes a comment one way or the other. I would never see that as a determining factor, nor like should it be. If you're trying to like move your franchise forward, to just like have your quarterback start to make those decisions. But I think it could have been factored in. I think that the Dolphins, even though they did lose to that 49ers team, who I do rate highly, I'm excited to see them in the playoffs. I really think they could be like a super dynamic and fun playoff team. And Joe, this is why I wanted you to go last on this, because we are going to move on to the 49ers in the context of this question. But with that Dolphins 49ers game, the 49ers obviously proved a lot defensively. Twofold. One, have the Dolphins gone down in your estimation, losing to a Jimmy G-less San Francisco team? And two, What the fuck, man? Jimmy G. What the fuck?
No,
What the
and
fuck?
yes, I am still in mourning. No, the Dolphins are a good football team. I agree with Ray. Like, Shanahan knew what McDaniels was going to come in there and run. And Bobby, to kind of touch on what you asked, I still don't think Stephen Ross handled that firing the right way. I think that Flores might have some kind of a defamation case or whatever kind of lawsuit he wants to file. But yeah, that's a good part of it. I mean, that's been a conversation that's come up on Boston radio lately of, how is Mac Jones reacting to the coach, reacting to the coordinator? And is it time for a change kind of thing that's kind of, not necessarily at the head coach level, but yeah, that's a huge factor. And I mean, who do you think Stephen Ross is going to go with? The coach that, is just there to call the plays, or is he going to go with the $1 million lefty quarterback who has a lot of potential? And now we've seen that kind of realized this year. As for the 49ers, I kind of feel the same way about them right now as I do the Jets, and in the context of, whoa, you just lost your quarterback, so who's your guy? Where the Jets never had a quarterback. I actually think they're too high, Bobby, on your list. I would have put the Commanders there, but that's just my personal opinion. Not to go back to number 10. But yeah, San Francisco losing Jimmy G is San Francisco losing.
Not to do exactly what I just did.
Yeah, right. Not to do exactly what I just did, but let me do it. No, San Francisco losing Jimmy is massive, especially when Trey Lance is still on the shelf as well. So
I think
we'll see what they can do. They got one of the
coming back in. Even if he was coming back in, I think that's their season. To be honest with you, I mean,
I don't think it's their season because I think they have enough weapons and they have enough. If they can stay healthy, as you've mentioned, Dave. If those other weapons can stay healthy and you can just find a way to get a ball in their hands and you can let Nick Bosa and the rest of that defense run wild, they'll be all right. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. I do have a mind switch on that because I think Jimmy was a very good game manager, but they'll drop out of this top 10 by the end of the season.
Ray, do you think that the 49ers had a chance with Jimmy and now they don't, or they had a chance with Jimmy and they still have a chance, or do you think they never had a chance at all? So it's not really that much to mourn.
No, I mean they've been in the NFC Championship game twice, I believe, and they've been in the Super Bowl. Like, so he exemplifies winning. Like, if he's out there, they're gonna go far. Especially if you're taking out his hand, he only throws it 8 to 10 times. So yeah, I think he would always do enough and make enough decisions to keep them in the game. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to get back to that level without him, because like I say, he does enough to keep the other defense at bay and can make certain throws to Ayuk and into Debo and to George Kittle. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but the other guys got to step up, and it's definitely a next man up mentality for sure.
So I don't know if you guys know. So Brock Purdy is who's taking over Mr. Irrelevant. Listen, I don't know if he's not good enough to lead him to a Super Bowl. Definitely not. But I don't know if he's that much worse than the type of numbers in game that Jimmy was going to be giving them. When it comes to the big plays and making, specific plays. Yes, game management, that's going to be different. They're going to have to restrict the playbook a lot. But, I mean, this dude was a Division I prospect coming out of high school, got mono, and it fucked up his whole trajectory. He got a scholarship offer from Alabama coming out of college and chose Iowa State instead. So it's a weird story for Purdy. I think he's definitely better than what people were giving him credit for. And the fact he stepped into that game against the Dolphins, like such a big stage, such a big game, and performed that well. I mean, I just think it shows that like he can, if put in the right situation, I don't think Brock Purdy is going to lose them their season.
Okay.
You look at so they got
but
Super
don't
Bowl,
you think
right?
that there's don't you think there's a little bit of a human factor that you're taking out here? Like there seems to be a little bit of pixie dust for the amount of times that quarterbacks have come in mid-game this season, and like the other team just hasn't game planned for them, and they like haven't thought about them at all because it's a guy you've like never heard of or like is just coming in, and that guy goes on to like do pretty good in the game. Like you saw Mike White do it. You saw fucking what's his name from the Patriots? Bailey Zappi. You've seen guys come in and like have good games in exactly those situations. And I think that by that data, just like I don't have all the numbers of that happening in front of me, obviously, but by that data on the eye test, I think you have to say like the 49ers have obviously lost the guy that was going to be able to take them to the promised land if it was going to happen. I think that you see, like Ray said, like you've seen Jimmy G in those situations perform. Come on, this kid got taken out by mono. That's like, come on. Come on, that's just it's just not romantic to me. It's like a knee injury. If we're writing the script, let's make it a knee injury.
It's kind
got
of
it romantically.
It's dank. Yes, Joe. That was the dad joke coming in clutch, bro. Yeah, I mean, listen. All I'm saying is Jimmy G got to a Super Bowl by throwing 15 total passes in the playoffs.
No, I know, but like you're looking at the stats. Obviously, those matter. But I just think I've seen Jimmy G do it. Who the fuck is this kid? And plus, I mean, look, I don't want to doubt the 49ers. It's heartbreaking to me, honestly. I've really been in on their defense and on the weapons that they have on offense. And I agree with you about Christian McCaffrey looking great in red, like it was always meant to be. But it just to me, they come up against, like, someone disagree with me about these teams in the NFC that they're going to come up against if they're getting past them. If they come up against, well, fuck, actually, they might beat a lot of these fucking teams. They would definitely beat the Vikings.
Yep.
Even with this fucking kid.
They could, yeah.
I think the Buccaneers could maybe beat them. I know we've had this conversation about the Buccaneers, but I just think Tom Brady can win a playoff game against that kid.
They beat the Buccaneers.
The Eagles are beating them.
The Eagles and Cowboys. Eagles and Cowboys are the only two. And even the Cowboys, I'm very scared of the 49ers. So even with Brock Purdy. So, I mean, it.
All right, man. They're not dead yet. I agree. You're not wrong, but I just, seeing this kid lead him to the fucking promised land, I'd be pretty fucking surprised.
It's very, not to keep going, but I'm going to keep going.
Not to do the thing I'm about to do, right?
It's very relatable to, I forget who said, I think it was Schrager said this, to the Bucks back in 1999. They had Dilfer go down, their backup go down, and then Sean King, I don't know if you guys remember Sean King, came in and led them to a playoff win with one of the best defenses ever. Did they go far? No. But he did get at least a playoff win. It brought some notoriety.
I love how
they got to the NFC Championship game though. They lost to the
yeah.
I love how you just secretly basically made Jimmy G Trent Dilfer right there, just in like a roundabout way. Jimmy G's Trent Dilfer. You heard it here first, folks. It's the same quality drop off, according to Bobby. Trent Dilfer, the name being synonymous with just somebody needing to recall a name of a quarterback that won shit that sucks. Okay,
now the UAB head coach.
I mean, thank God he's not on TV anymore. Somebody make him a fucking coach, because I cannot listen to that man talk about football. It's like even if he's right, you're like, okay, Trent Dilfer, every single fucking time. It's like you can't help yourself. All right.
Way to win a Super Bowl with the best defense of all time.
I'm glad you guys taught me around on the 49ers. I needed to try my best to say that their season is over and have somebody talk me out of it, because I'm still hyped on them. I'm still up for the 49ers. The fact that they snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat by winning against what I consider a very good Dolphins team it's encouraging. So maybe you're right, Bobby. Maybe you're right. I mean, you're a fucking optimist. You're an eternal fucking optimist, and it always puts me in a good mood after talking to you, even if it is fucking ridiculous. Okay, moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. We have to talk about these fucks again. Although I did trade for Dalvin Cook in fantasy, so all of a sudden my outlook on them is completely different. So are we all still convinced that they're going to get their asses kicked in the first round? Like, they have we won a lot of games, but we're going to lose the first playoff game we play written all over
San Francisco.
Atlanta Falcons circa, 2012, where it's like, oh shit, they're 15-1 and then they lose immediately. Like, is that who this Vikings team is? Because it has to be, right?
Like San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Oh my God,
I think it was 2 years in a row. San Francisco 1 year, the Giants the next.
Of course, that was also Matt Ryan, who as much as I love BC guys.
Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins are the same. The same person.
That's a good. That's man.
That's a good comp.
Matt Ryan is better though. Matt Ryan's better.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's better than fucking Kirk Cousins, Bobby. Come on.
Listen, Vikings are 10-2 and the Colts are 4-8-1, guys. Just saying.
Okay,
that's zombie Matt Ryan. No, that's zombie Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's his corpse. That's not fair. So
listen, the only thing with the Vikings to me is, I don't know if you guys saw this graphic go around the internet. If you took all the one-score games in the NFL this year and reversed the outcomes, the Vikings are 1-11, which is a very telling stat, because in my opinion, one-score games are the most, what's the word? I guess
it's like a coin toss. It's a little bit
exactly.
Of a coin toss.
It turns an okay or a good team into a great team when you just keep rattling off those one score victories.
I've been talking about that with the Bears all season. We've lost so many one score games.
The Bears would be, the part of that graphic was the Bears would be 7-5 if you did that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just listen.
I love it.
I can't
It was the best stat ever.
I can't trust the Vikings to keep running off these one-score game wins against the best teams in the NFL. You know what I mean? I don't see it. Exactly. I just don't see it.
Yeah, of course not. And also Kirk Cousins is their quarterback, which
for example,
week out.
This past game against the Jets, right? The Jets had 4 chances in the fourth quarter driving in the red zone. And because it's the Jets, Mike White, whatever, they don't capitalize on it. Cowboys would capitalize, Eagles would capitalize, Dolphins would you know what I mean? Like, you just go down the list of like the top teams in the NFL. I don't think the Vikings would be able to hang on to win against any of them, personally.
All right. So let me put you on the spot, Joe. Talk to me about a scenario where we actually do see the Vikings making it to the NFC Championship game. Is this a possibility? Because like you said, I mean, I want you to do it because you told me yourself the 49ers have weapons all over the fucking field. You can't say that the Vikings don't have weapons on offense. They have fucking weapons everywhere. I think they have the best wide receiver in football. They have a top 8 running back at least. Not to get into the nitty gritty of that, but I'd say he's top 8. I think, yeah, they have Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is having a good season. So talk me into it.
Yeah, and I mean, as of right now, with Brock Purdy at quarterback for the 49ers, the Vikings have the better quarterback as well. Also, Kirk Cousins, 3 years younger than Matt Ryan, so not that much of a discrepancy. And I am 15
Matt Ryan's
days
looked like an old guy since he came to the league.
Oh, yeah. And I am 15 days older than Kirk Cousins, which, what am I doing with my life? So, the Vikings have the Lions, Colts, Giants, Packers, Bears remaining on their schedule. I see them going 3-2 down the stretch, losing to the Giants and the Packers. And I do believe that they will finish the season 13-4. And the way it stands, I think, if they don't get the Seahawks, who I think can beat them, I think they can beat the Commanders in the playoffs. I think if they got the Giants again, I think
the Commanders can beat them. A little bit of a different.
Yeah, sure. Well, this is the thing about the Vikings, right? Like, any one of those teams in the playoffs can beat them, but they're good enough that to be cliche, any given Sunday, they can win those one-score games, as you guys just talked about. So can they get to the NFC Championship game? Without a doubt. Absolutely, they can get there. They're a 10-2 team right now. They're a good football team. Do I think that they will? No. So I'm not going to talk you into it, Dave, because I think they lose in the divisional round. I think they get out of the wild card, and then they lose in the second round of the playoffs. To who?
Don't know. Would have been way cooler if you did.
I know. Sorry, Matthew McConaughey.
If they end up with a 2 seed, they avoid the Eagles in the divisional round. That's how they get to the championship.
Yeah, that can happen.
Period.
That can happen.
You know what I mean? It's the only way. There's no goddamn chance Kirk Cousins is going into Philadelphia on NFL divisional weekend of fucking beating the Eagles. There is literally a 0% chance. That'd be a 10-point favorite for the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I might take that spread, but yeah. Ray, any positive vibes on the Vikings? Can you talk me into that?
I love Justin Jefferson.
I mean, he's a fucking stud.
He's a problem. So, and once again, when you have Jefferson, Thielen still, who's a wildly vet over there.
His year. He's not performing.
Sure, but it's just like, once again, you just need one game, right? You need one game of having, that throwback performance, right? And, you have Hawkinson, you have Irv Smith Jr., you have Dalvin Cook, you have Alex Madison. So they have a lot of guys there that can get it done. Still got Harrison Smith there on defense. So they have some guys there. I think that was there. I think on that 2017 team that lost to Philly, ironically. I mean, that shit was over as soon as they got off the bus. Like, it was terrible. I think it was like 38-7. It was out of control. Kirk Cousins is not Christian Ponder, but he becomes Christian Ponder in the playoffs. So it's like it's weird.
That's a good comp.
That's a better comp, right?
Playoff Kirk Cousins is Christian Ponder.
Another fit.
Yikes.
Yeah, Yikes is right. But yeah, no, I mean, the only positive to me, like I said, is their offense continuously, putting up big time numbers. But once again, if they have a playoff game at 1 p.m., then they may fuck around to get to the conference championship.
It could happen.
We'll see.
All right. Well, strangely,
has there ever been such a negative segment about a number 6 team in a power rankings before?
Just tune into last week's power rankings. Every time we get to the fucking Vikings, it's a bummer to talk about because we know that they suck and we have to talk about
10 wins. 10 wins.
But have you seen Christian Ponder's wife?
I have not.
Samantha Ponder.
Yeah,
She's on TV.
I don't know who that is. What does she do?
Sideline reporting.
All right.
You know, it's kind of like Jenny Dell with Middlebrooks.
Middlebrooks, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Will Middlebrooks.
Got into the sideline reporting so she'd hang out with her husband when he's benched.
Oh, shit.
But got him. Now he doesn't even play football anymore.
All right. He's probably doing pretty all right for himself, though. I feel like he can't talk shit about anyone that can retire at 29. All right. So moving on.
Not wrong.
We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills, strangely not in our 4-team going to the Super Bowl, going to the championship game. We're talking about for the second time, the Buffalo Bills are the number 5 seed, which I think it's fair if anyone's yelling at their radio right now, as if they're listening to this on a radio, as if anyone's yelling at their internet-connected device right now about the Bills being 5th. I think it's fair when you know that the next 4 teams are the Chiefs, for obvious reasons, the Cowboys, the Eagles, for fairly obvious reasons, and the fucking Bengals. And I think it's fair that the Bengals are in the top 4. And I think it's fair that they're probably the team sort of keeping the Bills out. The Bills could still win the fucking Super Bowl, though, Bob. Right? I mean, you're at the point now where your fifth team on your power rankings could still win a Super Bowl, and nobody's crazy surprised if that happens, right?
No, 100%. The reason that they dropped, man, is it's just they're of the teams that come next, right? So this is where we go up a tier from the rest of the NFL as number 5. This is when it's, these are the true Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion, is these next 5 teams. But the Bills, to me, are the least convincing week to week than the rest of these teams. Yeah, obviously the Bengals had their early season struggles, but what we just saw was different. When you look at the play that Josh Allen has had this year and his mistake prone in the red zone, I think that could come back to bite them in the playoffs. And then at the same time, man, I just don't see the consistency week to week that you see with the rest of the teams. It's just not there this year. I don't know what it is, what's different. I mean, they almost lost to the goddamn Lions.
Brian Dable.
The Lions, very good point. The Lions literally outperformed them on Thanksgiving. If it wasn't for Dan Campbell just butchering the end of that fourth quarter, they might beat the Bills. And this is a whole different conversation about them. They didn't, obviously. Bills came out. Who did the Bills play last week? I don't even remember.
What did you say?
I said, who did the Bills play last week?
Patriots.
The Pats, right. So they came out against the Patriots.
Oh, that's because it was a Thursday night game, right?
Yeah, and that offense is nothing to be desired. All right, the Bills could have scored, 24-10. They could have scored 13 points won that game. It didn't scream to me, we are Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole mystique.
They don't have that. They don't have that killer instinct.
Yeah,
I think is what you're saying. I mean, and I think that Josh Allen's just looked like 1 degree off kilter all season. As much as he still will make plays and he'll look really good, I do think he does look that weirdly 1 degree off kilter. I think you can knock him off his game a little bit early. I feel like he looks like Joe Burrow looked in the first half of the season, and now Joe Burrow looks like he's got the fucking eye of the tiger again. And I think we're sort of looking at the season play out quarterback wise with those two teams in a sort of a similar way. I'm glad that we're all agreed finally that we're not at the point where we should be comparing. This was the narrative. Oh, fucking Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. This is the new Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. It's not until he does some shit. And I'm not saying he won't this year, but I've seen Pat Mahomes do it. So I'm glad that was vindicated. But Ray, what do you think? I mean, like I said to Bobby, these fuckers could still come and win a Super Bowl. They're still super fucking talented. And, Josh Allen is still really good at playing quarterback, and he is bottled talent, top 2 or 3 probably in the league. What do you think? I mean, are you losing faith in this Bills team?
So first before I get into that, I need you to make that bottle talent thing a T-shirt. I need that merchandise because I feel like you say it a lot. So I need bottle talent.
You can picture it when I say it though, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I definitely need it. I need it on a T-shirt, on the hoodie, whatever. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
Great, make that happen. But no, I think. Listen, losing Von Miller for the rest of the year is huge.
And I forgot about
that is bad.
That's why I'm here, baby. I got you. I'm here. Losing Von Miller is huge. Obviously, Trey White has came back from injury. So I know they still got Micah Hyde and some guys there on the defense.
They still have a ton of talent.
They do, but at the end of the day, you need to get a stop. And we saw what happened last year. Was one of the best games I've seen in the playoffs ever. they couldn't make a stop when it mattered. Once again, you get the guy that can help you get a stop.
Von Miller can win you a Super Bowl.
Right,
That's just
exactly.
straight up true.
And
We know that to be true.
yeah, so that's so it's just like that to me. That's a bigger piece that people are speaking, and I feel like
you're right.
Yeah, you can score. You can score 27-28, but once again, Mahomes is going to score 35, and you need that 1 or 2 stops that someone's going to get that sack on a 2nd and 7. That's going to push it back to 30-15. That's going to make Harrison Butker get up there to kick a field goal or for them to punt. So, especially in Arrowhead, it's hard to win out there. I mean, I know because we've done it. It's hard to win out there in Arrowhead. So you have to have everything go right to win out there. And without that variable of Von Miller and a completely healthy defense, to me, once again, they can score with the best, but you got to be able to stop somebody. And I don't see that happening when they.
I think you're completely right, because honestly, and it makes sense to me as I look at this so much when you look at the top 5 of Bobby's power rankings, like. I think they're not getting past at this point, especially obviously with the Von Miller injury. They're not getting past the Bengals and they're not getting past the Chiefs. Like as of right now, I see nothing that can convince me otherwise.
And you think about it too, right? So obviously the top 3 teams, AFC, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals.
The Bills are 3,
but those are the top 3.
The Bills are 3. That makes sense.
Right. And what's different with the Bengals than the Bills? The Chiefs have the Bills number. It's period. You know what I mean? They just
the Bengals have the Chiefs number a little bit.
So it's like if you're talking about power rankings of who you have confidence in and who you believe is a better team, what it comes down to is what can you do in the playoffs? What are you going to do to get through? And I have 0% confidence in Josh Allen going to Kansas City and beating the Chiefs. I am way more confident.
No way. No fucking way.
Way more confidence.
Glad I talked you out of that. It only took 14 weeks, but you're firmly sitting on that fucking fence back and forth all year. So that vindication feels good. I'm putting that one in the fucking tip cup. No, I mean, you're right though. At the end of the day, I think that the way that they don't look like a team, like you said, killer instinct, big injuries. If they do find a way to rally and get past these very, very fucking good teams that they're going to have to get past to get to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I just don't think this year, unless, Joe, can you talk me out of this? Do you think is there a world where they get past the Chiefs at Arrowhead? No way, right?
No.
It sounded like he was going to say yes for a second, but no.
Yeah, I wanted to make you think, that big market tease. No, it's just with Brian Daboll not being there, that offense does look a little off kilter, Dave, and I agree with you. I think the defense is great. I still think they're a wagon, but sometimes the wagons don't always get to the end of the trail. And this Bills team is going to have a tough time getting there. I think Brian Daboll being gone has made things a little difficult. I think Von Miller now being out is going to make things difficult because, sure, look where they got last year without Von Miller. I mean, they can do these things without Von Miller, but having Von Miller when you have the opportunity to is better than not having him.
So I think I don't mean to interrupt, but you're so right when it comes to that Daboll thing, bro, because you look what Josh was before Daboll kind of got in his head and took care of him, told him to take care of the ball, all that stuff. That's who Josh Allen was these past 2 years. As soon as he leaves, right, he turns Daniel Jones into that. And Josh Allen
he's
now
a fucking QB whisperer, isn't he? I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones is a good down now, but
there's only 2 interceptions two quarterbacks that have more interceptions than Josh Allen right now, and it's Matt Ryan and Davis Mills. So
it's not a good look.
And Ken Dorsey is now the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. So there's
I didn't know that has something on the broadcast. I was like, Ken Dorsey, for those that don't remember, was
that the Craig Krenzel, Ohio State?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
right. That was that, right?
Ken Dorsey was phenomenal at UM. He sucked once he got to San Francisco, but at UM. But the
some guys are just better college coaches. In fairness,
no.
I'm saying
I'm sorry. So some guys are just better quarterback. Better quarterbacks.
I mean, you wouldn't too when you have Clayton Portis, Willis McGahee, DJ Williams. I get it.
Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson. Geez, I mean that. Oh my God, Santana Moss. Like it was ridiculous. It was a joke how good
Santana Moss is so fucking good.
Yeah,
he was so college, bro.
Yeah, his brother too. Sinners like they ran Dade County for a while, but yeah, that's another story for the day. But yeah, I didn't know that, so I started to see. I was like, oh okay, like I didn't know he was up there, but Yeah, he's been the quarterback coach, I guess up there, but
Yeah, they
I'll
tried
say-
to keep the consistency.
right.
But-
It's also different when you're just saying like, hey, like when you're making that throw, look at this angle or look at this, as opposed to, all right, we're doing spider Y2 banana. I did that for you.
Thank you.
I know because you love John
Oh, me
Gruden so
too.
much. But yeah, so it's a lot different when you're calling up those plays, and it's like, oh, like maybe there's a lot more nuance to this than I thought.
Especially at the NFL level.
We're
though,
finding out up here.
it's-
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
all good.
I mean, honestly, though, like that kind of that will make or break a QB when somebody is explaining to you the offense in a way that you understand and you can actually play and relate to. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, as much as I hate the guy, it makes no fucking sense to come in and not play a West Coast offense in Green Bay when you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I love blaming him, and I love him failing, and I love that he looks weird without a beard now because his like face is going weird. But I think to come in and do that, it's like you can even wreck Aaron Rodgers, regular season Aaron Rodgers. You can even wreck him if you come in and you start saying shit and getting into his head and trying to make him run an offense he doesn't understand. So anything like that happening to, especially guys young as Josh Allen, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he's ruined or anything. I think that they can put it back together next year with a little bit of personnel changes. But I do agree this is the root of the problem.
I mean, David, it would almost be like having a second-year quarterback in the NFL and having the
Justin
offensive
Fields.
coordinator taking a job in Las Vegas and then hiring back your buddy that you don't have to pay, who's a defensive coach, and having him call offensive plays.
Oh,
I don't know where that would happen.
Some Patriots reference. I thought you were gonna be like, it's almost like if the coach of fucking Justin Fields sucks, and then Eberflus comes in and actually starts playing to his strengths and looks like he's fucking stud. God damn, that coaching staff last year was so bad. Okay,
All I'm
bad.
saying is red zone interceptions in week 9, week 10, fine. Red zone
Yeah.
interceptions in the divisional and championship game.
Yeah, you're screwed.
they're
You're
determining
screwed.
factors.
You're
They're
done.
gonna win. They're gonna win and lose you games. You're
Right.
absolutely yeah, especially with a guy with the skill set of Josh Allen too. It's like that shouldn't be happening. All right, that is. But at least we're not blaming him, right? Like I think that like he sort of lost. He's a talented guy that sort of lost the thing that was making him great. Hopefully he can put it back together. But they can still win a fucking Super Bowl. All right, the top 4 games are gonna be fun this week. We do it every week. Just if this is your first time listening, there is conveniently again 2 AFC teams and 2 NFC teams. We're gonna
Does
talk.
it on purpose now, Dave.
No, I mean the top 4 makes sense to me.
They really are the top 4, though.
Yeah, I think we'll go around. Obviously, we're going to ask everybody. NFC, these 2 teams play. AFC, these 2 teams play. They go to the Super Bowl. Who do you have win the Super Bowl? I think we're going to find out again that nobody has faith in the fucking Eagles, just like every week. But I'm actually gaining a little faith in them, to be honest. I think they do a lot of things right.
A Titans game was big for me.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to talk about all this, but let me go through and I'll just take everybody's answers and then I'll circle back around again and we'll talk about why you picked what you picked. So I'll just tell you right now, I'm still sending the Chiefs through against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. I might be the only one that does that. We'll see. And I'm still sending the Cowboys through against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Some opinions there might have changed too. Listen on and find out. So Bob, tell me what happens. Both divisional games, both championship games. What happens?
So Cowboys, obviously. And I think the Bengals, man.
I
I'm
bet you
I'm
do.
gonna quote
I'm
you.
fucking unsurprised.
I'm going to quote you as to why I think so. And that's
Great. I love
I
Nate.
will believe that Patrick Mahomes can beat Joe Burrow when I see it. Period. Listen, this dude is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. He's the only quarterback besides Tom Brady to have 3 wins against Patrick Mahomes. And Tom Brady is 3-3. Joe Burrow's 3-0. Just, bro. Bengals Cowboys.
Wow. Well, that was
In
a
Arrowhead, too. He beat him
that-
twice in Arrowhead.
Yeah. That was a really good
Crazy.
attempt at let me collect your answers, and then we'll go back around and you can tell me why. But I mean, it was an A
Go
for
ahead.
effort. Ray,
A for ADD.
Ray, who? Yeah, you already chose the NFC. Ray, who's going through for the NFC? Who's going through for the AFC? And you might as well explain your reasoning because Bobby did, and it was kind of fun when it happened. So let's just let it ride.
Yeah, I'm going with the Andy Reid Bowl. I'm going
Yeah,
with
same.
the Chiefs and Eagles, and I think I talked about that the last time I was on here. I think that I felt that it had potential to be the Super Bowl matchup, and yes, Joe Burrow has had Patrick Mahomes' number, but if there's anyone that can crack the code, it's obviously 15. getting Jordan Davis back is huge for Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And as Cowboys fans can poo-poo it, Giants fans can be whatever. I'm telling you, that big boy in the middle is a problem. He does a lot of, especially with Robert Quinn going down, like he creates a lot of mismatches for the rest of that defense. So I just think getting him back, and obviously the play of Hurts and what A.J. Brown has done, and, Miles Sanders and obviously Devontae Smith, like they just had the requisite pieces there. Sirianni's done a much better job than I ever expected. However, if it does become the Andy Reid Bowl, I fully expect Kansas City to go, batshit crazy on them in that Super Bowl game. But once again, we said who's going to get there. I just feel like it's going to be the Andy Reid special. And like I said, I got the Chiefs, Mahomes and Mahomes getting their second Super Bowl in this era.
I like it. Joe?
Are we still just giving picks and then going back around, or?
No.
Okay.
We're explaining now. I don't know if you heard the two explanations that happened right before you. Usually,
he knows. He's being an asshole. He's being an asshole.
Yeah, context clues are helpful. I know, but I told Ray he could do it. It's not Ray's fault. It's really Bobby's fault.
Told him that fault.
I know it's Bobby's fault. I'd love to be different here, and I love what the Bengals do. I love watching them play. But I love watching the Chiefs play too. They're dynamic. I would also like to put the Eagles in there, but the Eagles have something I don't like, and that is Nick Sirianni, because I don't trust him as a head coach yet. I think he's doing a great job. This team is 11. They've played out of their minds. I mean, they've beaten some good teams. They've beaten some bad teams. They lost to the Commanders. But man, it's going to be a battle of the Midwest. It's the Chiefs and the Cowboys. It's the old, Cowboys.
That'd be amazing.
Dallas versus Dallas, bro.
That would be amazing.
Exactly. And I think that's what it's going to be, because I said it to Bobby when he got hired. I like Mike McCarthy, and I know he had a rough first year there, but I love what the defense is doing. The offense is clicking. CeeDee Lamb is outstanding. Tony Pollard is ridiculous and should be the number one back there. Problem is they're paying Zeke too much money. I think the Super Bowl between Dallas and Kansas City would be really exciting and really fun to watch. And Andy Reid against Mike McCarthy, like, boy, doesn't that take you back to the old Packers-Eagles days? That would just be fun.
Yeah, I could see it happening. It's my same pick. I want to see it happen. I want to see the Chiefs play the fucking Cowboys in the Super Bowl. That'd be sick.
I'm getting so anxious over here.
Because, here's the thing: if the Chiefs play the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, we have been treated to like 8 great games. Like it's like just fun all around. Like if that does come true, we've seen a lot of fun shit happen. We've seen Joe Burrow lose to Pat Mahomes. Fucking the Bengals and the Cowboys is fun too. A lot of fun stuff can happen. We love this league for that reason, not for some other reasons. Okay, so Bobby, the Cowboys are playing the Bengals in your scenario in the Super Bowl. You have all this faith in the Bengals. You have all this faith in Joe Burrow. You have seen them catch fire at the end of a season and ride the momentum to a championship game before. Explain to me why your Cowboys are going to win, other than the fact that Matt Stafford fucking beat him in a Super Bowl, for God's sake. If we're doing 1v1 quarterback comps, Joe Burrow lost to fucking Matt Stafford. All right. That guy fucking sucks. So talk to me as to why the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl in your scenario.
So I don't think Joe Burrow necessarily lost to Matt Stafford necessarily, that he lost to the Rams pass rush. He beats Pat Mahomes, but we're just going to cherry pick when he's lost to Matt Stafford in the biggest game of the year. You just said that, bro.
It was the best defense in the league.
Hear me out.
And Burrow was the most sacked quarterback.
The thing is the offensive line for the Bengals. Yes, it's much.
They're still not
since
good.
The beginning of the season, right? They're still not good. And at the beginning of the season, I remember we talked about this. We specifically said this is those first 2 games where the Bengals were absolute garbage. That offensive line, I think he got sacked 7 times both games, was against like TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, the 2 best pass rushers in the league. So I just feel like when that offensive line gets against a pass rush and a front 7.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So the Cowboys are going to bring the same problems
exactly
that the Giants brought, and it's going to be like a repeat of last year, except maybe, well, probably not on performance, but maybe the Cowboys have a better offense than the Rams did last year, and that also just gets the job done quicker.
Exactly.
But Burrow's been there, is the thing. Like he's now been there, and he's coming back with revenge on his mind. So, Ray, your scenario is the Andy Reid Bowl, right?
Yep.
So I want to know, does Andy Reid win or does the ghost of Andy Reid win?
No, I think Andy Reid would be in his fucking bag. I think he would have a lot of plays.
It's going to be like 54-4 if that scenario plays out.
That's how I see it. Like, I just think that you got to think about Philly fans was on his head. They made 5 straight NFC Championship games, and they made one Super Bowl appearance. Once again, most franchises would be phenomenal with that, but because it's Philly, I get it. Big market, it was bad, but I'm like, yo. You didn't. I mean, I know you got to the Super Bowl with Ron Jaworski. I know. I don't think autogram play by autogram with Philadelphia. I can't remember. Anyways, they only got there.
Cleveland.
Cleveland, gotcha. Okay, so they only got there with Ron Jaworski and obviously Randall Cunningham, so on and so forth. Ty Detmer, you name it. I just think now to see what he's been able to do in Philly now in Kansas City, obviously with Alex Smith now getting Patrick Mahomes, I think that we will see one of his top 3 coaching performances of all time. And yeah, they'd put 40 on them easily.
That would suck. That would suck, though. I want to see a competitive.
I mean, sure, but I mean, one of my favorite Super Bowl memories, and sorry, Joker, I know he's a fan of this quarterback. I loved seeing Seattle win 43-8. I thought that was fucking amazing. I thought it was
Watching
great.
him get the ball snapped over his head was so fucking awesome.
It was almost a shock about it. You couldn't believe. You're like, damn, Peyton Manning getting dominated like this. So that. There's still something to be. There's still a story to be told within the story. So
yeah,
you can.
On the other side of that same coin, though, when I think about blowout Super Bowls, I always think about the Raiders against Tampa Bay, and it's just like, oh my god, like this is.
Well, I mean that's personal.
More, turn it off.
You're not a fan of the guy who I get it.
No, but I mean the game itself is just like this has been over in the second quarter.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's exactly what That's exactly. It was personal for that coach in Tampa. It would be personal for Andy Reid. I think it was like, you know what, y'all quote unquote gave up or whatever. You didn't think you didn't appreciate me while I was there type thing. That's what it would be. And they would annihilate Philadelphia.
Joe, remind me who your matchup is. Sorry, in the Super Bowl.
It's the battle for the Midwest, Chiefs and Cowboys.
Chiefs and Cowboys. Yeah. So who you got?
Andy Reid.
Yeah.
The Chiefs win that. Chiefs take that. I mean, I
got all this faith in Andy Reid now that he's won one. I just feel, and I'm not saying you guys, but you remember this myth, this albatross that Andy Reid had to carry around his neck of like he's almost there, but he's an also ran. He's not ever gonna get it done. And I feel like what's so nice about him as a coach finally winning is he's now given all the credit for the things that he did before actually winning, and like we can actually see that he is a top tier NFL coach. I mean, I really do love this because I agree with you. Like, I think Andy Reid is a big part of like why I'm so high on this Chiefs team, despite I think Bobby making me a little bit worried about that Joe Burrow having his number thing. It's starting to get under my skin.
I think to the casual fan, that's how Andy Reid is seen. But for the 4 of us or 6 of us that's on the show, and to be the football people that we are, and how much we love the game, study the game.
Yeah, I just hated the slander, man. I hated the slander before.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. But I even when we were doing this in college, like we never, I don't remember us really going at Andy Reid saying that he wasn't the guy.
No, I never have.
When you get, once again, 5 in a row, and once again, and I have his jersey in my closet. I loved Brian Westbrook. I think about they ended up getting an older Dorsey Levis. For those who remember that, Deuce Staley,
Brian Westbrook. Cover Madden 06?
Something like that.
04?
It's like, you think about James Thrash, Todd Pinkston, Freddie Mitchell, Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, like Hugh Douglas.
No, that guy can build a fucking
come on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and once again, for those that's listening, you're listening to the range of this. So welcome to Missing the Point. Like, this is what we do. But it's just like, it is phenomenal to see what he had there and what he posted up there. And then even what he did over in Kansas City before they won in 2019. So yeah. He's been great for a long time, and once again, give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm glad we're all on the same page about that guy because I feel like I was fucking breathless defending him when he hadn't actually gotten that ring. All right, well, that's fun. I mean, the only thing that's really sort of like knocked me a little is Bobby's 3-0 stat. I'm starting to think about that now, and I think it would bum me out a little bit to see Mahomes go down to Burrow.
Is your quote, bro? Your quote. Listen.
Yeah. No, I mean, look. I mean, because you understand that. Yeah, that logic makes a lot of sense to me, obviously. If it is my quote, I have said it about a lot of different things. So, fuck, man. I mean, especially after, because I was honestly, Bob, ready to come on here and give you the same fucking spiel about how you're reactionary about shit like this, because I saw that was my first reaction, ironically, to seeing the Bengals. It's like he won one fucking game again, and it was like, no, it actually isn't one game. He sort of has their fucking number, dude. So yes, I'll believe it when I see it. I agree with you on that, but I know that the Chiefs are sort of the favorites, and it is sort of lame to cheer for them, but I really like watching them play football. Like, they entertain me on a weekly basis. So I'm not necessarily cheering for them, but I would love to see a Chiefs-Cowboys Super Bowl. I genuinely would love to see that. I think that would be a lot of fun. And like I said, any four of these teams get there, we've seen a lot of good football going in. So I think we're going to end it on the parlays. Bobby, how many do you have?
I just have one big one that I
okay, good. I only have one too, so we can get through this. Go ahead. You do yours first.
All right, I'll go first. So this week, there's a couple games that stand out to me that I did alt spreads on, which gave me positive odds. So I got a 14 parlay for you.
14 or 14?
14. 14.
I was like, that might not hit.
the odds are, I don't even know how to, I never know how to read. So plus 54.83. So what's that? 54 to 1. 55 to 1. Yeah. So the Dolphins are playing the Chargers, right? Yeah. Dolphins coming off last week's game. Chargers to me are a little flimsy when it comes to the primetime games. So I got the Dolphins minus 9.5, winning by 10.
Oh, you took the spread. Okay,
yeah, minus 9.5. Then we have the Chiefs against the Broncos. They're only minus 9.5, which is crazy to me. I extended that up because I have minus 20.5. Right, so I think they're going to beat the Broncos by 21 points. Then I have the Cowboys minus 20.5 against the Texans. Texans are a garbage team. They already gave up on the season.
Those odds are bad.
Cowboys love running it up on teams this year. They show no mercy. So I don't see them.
17.5 thing. 17.5 is this?
Yeah, I extended it up to 20.5, and then Bengals by 6.5. So Bengals by a touchdown over the Browns. Those four hit. It pays out 54 to 1. $10 wins you $548.
Nice. Very nice.
Right? I mean, that's believable, isn't it? All four of those.
I do think that could happen, but it's one of those parlays that it freaks me out a little bit, because it's like, I could see that, like, you're getting like plus, you're getting the like minus 2,200 on the Cowboys just straight outright winning that game. It doesn't make it worth it. So that makes me want to chase the money or the spread, which I'm always just reticent of doing. My parlay is, I mean, look, it might hit. It's a good hit. It's a good bet. If it does, obviously, like all winning bets. But my parlay, again, is more conservative. I do just bet a little bit more conservatively on odds than you do. I have the Eagles money line against the Giants. That's a lock for me. I think that they come in. They're minus 310. I think they come in and they're, even though they're going to New York, I think that's move the odds a little bit, and I think that helps us out. I think I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Cleveland Browns on the money line, which is minus 240, which I wanted more there. I feel like I think that's actually a decent number. I thought that their odds were going to be worse, especially with how the Browns played last week. And then my one kind of risky bet to make this parlay worth it is the Jags beating the Titans plus 170. So it's one of those bets, like you just said with yours, like it's a world that I can see it happening. $50 gets you $202. And I like to bet in units of 50. So that's just me. So you got two options here. You know, you can go the fucking the gutbuster route with Bobby. You can just drink the moonshine and see where the night takes you, or you could sip some wine and sit back and watch some football with me. The options are endless here at Missing the Point. All right, so that has been the Power Ranking Show. The powers have been ranked. The discussions have been had. I do feel like we're in a much more clear in sections and tiers of this football league. We're in a much more clear spot now. We've been waiting for this clarity, but it has made for a lot of fun conversations over the last few weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in to Missing the Point, now officially part of the Winner's Edge Podcast Network. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
If you're a working professional wondering what's next for your career, you've come to the right place. Whether you're looking for a promotion, growth, or a potential career transition, look no further. With over 30 years working in a variety of industries, I share my insider knowledge with those ready to get ahead on Career Advancement with Craig Ansell. Tune in to get your strategies for success.
Are you a fan of classic cinema or a young person who wants to discover the best films of all time? Do these legendary movies still hold up?
On the Generation Film podcast, two guys who grew up when movies dominated the culture share a great film with a panel of young movie lovers and see how it plays for today's generation.
We discuss changes in storytelling styles, representation,
The making of each film, its initial reception, and how its meaning has changed over the years.
Join us as we explore cinema classics across generations on Generation Film.
Electricast. Electricast.